Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano, and this is the Affiliate Party Podcast. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get a producer for this podcast, for this excellent podcast, because I'll give you a little behind the curtain. I was recording the podcast, and I was trying to look up some information for you great folks out there in podcast land. And I'm just talking, and I'm looking, and I'm about to find it. And then what happens? Of course, my lovely mother decides to call. And then, of course, as I said last week, and I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, yeah, I turned off the airplane mode to look for the information for you, just for you. And then, of course, my mother calls 2 minutes into me looking up the information. So thank you, Mom, for that. So now we're doing this podcast. Boom. But anyway, today we're going to talk about open email rates, and we're going to talk about Steve Martin. Now, open email rates. When you first get started online, people will try to tell you the open email rates are important. Open email rates are not important. Clicking on links, buying the products that you're an affiliate for, buying your products or whatever you're selling, that's the most important thing. If you have 100 people on your email list, 5 people open the email and 5 people buy, winner chicken dinner, that's enough. 5 people bought. That's all you're looking for. You're looking for people to buy. If 100 people open up the email list and nobody buys, who cares? You know what I mean? Of course, they read the email. That's great. But we are you and I. We are a for-profit organization. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, we're here to help people. Don't get me wrong, but we are here. We are running a business. We are here to make money. Okay, we all know this. Okay, so. And I bring this up because I heard my lovely wife the other day. She was on the phone talking to somebody. She was telling them how she has 10,000 people on the email list. And I looked at her and I said, I need to borrow about 9,000 of them folks. But she was telling them her open rate is only 2%. 2% of 10,000 is 200. That's a lot of people to open up the email. And then she said, well, we don't really do a lot of email because they don't open up the email. And I thought, she's kind of wild right now. And I thought, she shouldn't be worried about the open rate. She should be worried about all people clicking on the link. But I didn't have time to tell her that because my brother and sister-in-law, they were in town, so we weren't able to talk shop about this faux pas that I felt that she had about email, because I think she might be misinformed about email. So I'm gonna have to just sit down and discuss this with her. But anyway, open email rate overrated. What you want people to do is click on the link. And the mistake my wife is probably making, I'm pretty sure, is, well, two things that I see wrong in this situation. Now, what do you think is wrong? You tell me before I chime in. Say them out loud, write them down. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you said them? Great. Now, 2 things she's doing wrong. She's treating the email list like a hit and run, like a booty call. She's coming, dropping an email once every blue moon, and then leaving. That's it. Of course, we all know this is the no-no. I've talked about this before. I've gotten into that habit. That was a bad habit I started to get into. Just emailing them every blue moon. Hey, it's me, dropping by, saying what's up, trying to see if I can get a little Philly feel, and that's a mistake. Especially when you want to have an engaged email list. You want your email list to come back, keep coming back, open up the stuff, buy stuff from you. You want to hear from them. You want interaction with the email list, because that builds more of a relationship. The better relationship you build with people, the better off your sales will be. The better off better off they will feel. The more money you will make, and everybody will feel like they're not being hustled, they're not being cheated. They will feel like, hey, I trust this guy, I know this guy or gal, I know them, I like them, I'll buy from them. That's what you're looking for. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two she's making is she's probably using just basic headlines. Sometimes you want to come out of the box and you want to use different headlines, you know. You want to use, you know, you can use, like I said before, you can use movie references, sports references. You can use life lessons that you learned. Anything that you could think about, you can use it for a headline, and you can tie it into a sale. You can tie it into a email campaign. It will work out for you. One thing I did once that it got me 30% email rate early on. I remember I was writing every day, and then it was one day I said, man, what? I said, they're opening the stuff, they're not clicking on the link. And then I wrote, you know, I put blank, I used their name, and then I put how many emails will it take? And then I used the laughing emoji. It's a little off, you know, a little different. And it worked because 30% people opened they opened the email. And then more people clicked on the link than they ever have before. And then another email I did one time was I put, you know, hey, I said, here's a plan to rob a bank. And people, it was like 25% email open rate. And for me at that time I was like, hey, that's great. I'll take that. You know what I mean? So you want to think different. You want to write ideas. If you have an idea for headlines, of course, you want to use different headlines, you know, go to there's different websites. You can always look at like, you know, National Enquirer, things like that, just to study it. You want to study headlines when you're doing emails and all that kind of stuff. You want to just study headlines in general, just in case you ever want to be like a copywriter or anything like that, or just for email marketing purposes. Because sometimes you don't want to get stuck using the same old headlines. Of course, you don't want to use the most zaniest headlines all the time, but you know you want to do it's a mix and match. You know you want to weave the normal in with the kind of wacky. You want to know, you know, the funny. You know, not. I mean, you don't have to be Kevin Hart, but you know, we all have a sense of humor. You know, you have a sense of humor. I have a sense of humor. You know, sometimes yours might be, you know, you might be witty. You might be dry. I mean, who knows? You know, just you go for what you know. You know, and of course, people think they gotta. You don't have to be everything to everybody. Of course, we all know this. That's one mistake you'll make. If you try to be everything to everybody, try to be everybody's pal, everybody's friend, everybody's not gonna like you. Everybody ain't gonna like you. So, you know, just remember that. And that's, yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely talk to my wife. First, I'll say, where you get these 10,000 people from? I need 10,000 people. I got a few, but I definitely don't have 10,000. Not yet. I'll be having 10,000 soon, but you know, for now, it is what it is. But I'm definitely going to talk to her. But anyway, that's it for that. Of course, now we're going to discuss the next segment. We're going to discuss Steve Martin and the power of persistence. I'm sure we talked about persistence before, but sometimes I need to hear that. Sometimes you need to hear that, because one thing about us as human beings, you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a motivator, I'm not a guru. But one thing I do know, sometimes we all come up with damn excuses to not do what we need to do to get ourselves going. All right, so listen to this beautiful commercial about Anchor from yours truly, and we'll talk about Steve Martin and the power of persistence. All right, welcome back. Now, I listened to an audiobook. I listened to quite a few audiobooks. This is what I do when I'm driving. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, but listen to an audiobook about Steve Martin. It's a pretty good audiobook. He talked about his time as a stand-up comedian. Now, of course, I wasn't born in I was born in 1979, so of course I didn't know anything about Steve Martin as a stand-up career. I just know Steve Martin from his movies, Your Three Amigos, and The Jerk. You know, one of my favorite Steve Martin movies is Bowfinger. I don't know if you ever seen Bowfinger, but that's a great movie. Him and Eddie Murphy. Oh man, I went to the movie and saw that. Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin, and like Heather Graham. That was a good movie. Good times in 1999. But anyway, I saw this. I listened to this audio book, and Steve Martin was talking about his stand-up career, how he got started. You know, basically he said he didn't have an act. He just wanted to be a performer. So Steve Martin sort of pieced together a stand-up act, and I thought, well, this is cool. The name of the book is Born Standing Up, Steve Martin. And so it's a pretty good book. It's like 4 hours, so it's a quick listen. But anyway, he talked about the start of his stand-up, how he got a job on Knott's Farm or whatever, and then he, moved up, and then he started doing this little wacky, stand-up thing he had, how he would play the banjo and he would do magic tricks and all this kind of stuff. He would sing and all this. It's very wacky, very zany, but eventually it caught on, and Steve Martin, he honed his craft. And one thing that stood out to me was when he said he went on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson was, the king of late night, of course, and comedians, up until I guess Johnny Carson retired, they would do stand up on his show. And if Johnny waved to you and told you to come sit on the couch, then bada boom, you was in. So Steve Martin, he was discussing this. He said he got on the Tonight Show. He said Johnny Carson didn't really understand his stand up, and basically he got demoted to, they would let him on the Tonight Show, but only if somebody, it was a guest host. If Johnny wasn't there, they would let Steve Martin come on the show. Steve Martin said his 16th time on the Tonight Show. Finally, Johnny started hosting the show and letting him back when he was doing the show. So Steve Martin, he was doing the Tonight Show. It was his 16th appearance. Finally, he did a bit, and he said they caught a glimpse of Johnny Carson finally doubling over in laughter. Johnny Carson was just cracking up, and so this helped Steve Martin propel him into, basically Steve Martin was a rock star when it comes to comedy. He was selling out buildings after a few years, a couple years after this, like 35,000, 40,000 people at a time, and it helped his career. But the lesson in this is the persistence that he had to keep going to the Tonight Show, even when Johnny was like, this kid's a little too strange for me. He can come back, but only when guests are, hosting the show. And for him to have the perseverance, because I know we all want to hit a home run the first time, but of course in life, we all know everything's not a home run the first time. I mean, if it was, we'd all be rich. We'd all be, we all be where we wanted to be. Sometimes you have to get it. You get the opportunity. It doesn't work out the way you want it to work out. You have to come back. You have to fire back. Keep shooting until you hit. He hit a foul ball his first appearance. Second appearance, I think by the third or fourth appearance, Johnny Carson was like, this shit's too weird for me. But he kept coming back. And then he, the 16th time, the king of, late night comedy was cracking up. And that helped Steve Martin. And then a couple of guest appearances on Saturday Night Live took off. And, but basically, persistence. The man didn't even have an act to begin with, He basically said he was just piecing stuff together. That's another thing. You don't have to have everything figured out. I know I've talked about this before, but it's so true. It's so true. Don't try to be perfection in this business of affiliate marketing. Don't try to be perfect. Perfection is another form of paralysis. Trust me, I know about it. I used to try to wait till everything was perfect. I thought, man, I gotta have this stuff lined up. Nothing's gonna be lined up, I mean, we can't just say, most of us can't just say, I'm quitting my job and I'm just gonna do affiliate marketing. No, We have to do affiliate marketing while we work at a job. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are going to keep working a job and do affiliate marketing for the rest of their lives. Nothing wrong with that. It's about how you want to do. Some of us, we want to just take this online stuff full time, and that's fine too. But main thing, you have to be persistent. You have to just keep going, you know. Stuff might not work, just like I talked about. Just like I talked about the affiliate program I thought was going to be good. Turned out to be shit. Well, I'm not even going to say turned out to be shit. I just thought it wasn't right for me. I thought I think it's a pyramid scheme personally, but you know, whatever. So for me, it didn't work. You know, I thought, oh man, I'm gonna do this, make a lot of money. And at the end of the day, I looked at it. I had to keep looking at it, and I said, nah, because you know, for me, I was like, if I get people to sign up for this and I think it's a pyramid scheme, I'll feel like shit. So I passed on it. So I had to come back to the drawing board, keep going with what's been working for me, and here we are. You know what I mean? Just like, once again, I don't like to talk about myself, but I have to include myself in these stories because, you know, I don't want you to think, you know, of course I'm not a robot. You know what I mean? So I'm not perfect. I mean, nobody's perfect, but anyway. When I first started this podcast, I thought, what? And then I remember I was saying, I'm going to do this podcast the first year, 365 days, you know. I probably missed one day, maybe twice at the most, 2 days. That was back-to-back days. But other than that, every day I've been here. And sometimes I'm like, how can I come up with this? How can I come up with this stuff? But it's not hard anymore, you know. I just think about something. I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to talk about that. And I can... This applies to marketing. This applies to entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss it. And then we're going to, you know, have a good show and keep it moving. You know? So, don't think that you have to be... Even if you think you're not ready, trust me, you're ready more than what you think. You know what I mean? We are all ready. As I say all the time, I remind myself of this every day. I don't know if this would help you, but I say to myself, I'm already great. It's not about, you know, it's not about a job. It's not about my family. It's not about any of that. I know I'm great, but now I want my business, I want my digital marketing business to be just as great as I am. So that's why I'm working every day. That's why I take action, you know. That's why we're here, you know what I mean? It's not about us. It's about the business. We are already great. We are already inside. Greatness is already within you. Sometimes we just need a reminder of that, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's a lot of audiobooks I've listened to, you know, from Walt Disney to Steve Jobs to Steve Martin. Everything's been the same. I listened to a podcast today about how I built this. A guy, he started a company called Calendly, some kind of online calendar or something like that. This guy, he said he just got started. He said he really didn't know which way he was going, but he got started, and now last year he made like $60 million from his business, you know. So, of course, you know, it doesn't matter how much you make, but as long as you know, if you're happy with the results, then great. You know what I mean? But the main thing is get started, because if you just keep going, just like Steve Martin, just like, you know, this here podcast, just like you, whatever you're doing for your online business, if you just keep going, most people quit. You start off with 100 people, and in about a month, hell, 50 people will quit already. 3 months, 75% of the people will quit. In a year, it'll be you and about 5 other people still going at it. So, you know, don't worry about anything. Just keep going. Be persistent. You know, it's there. You know, you just have to keep striving. You have to keep going. I remember when I was a trainer. This will be the last thing, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. But I was a trainer. I was a trainer for truck driving. You know, I would train new drivers. New drivers would come, and then we would train them. And I remember I had to take a class. We had to do I was training for like 2 years, and then so I had to do a re-up. So we're sitting in class, and the instructor, she said, the reason why we're doing this retraining is because we bring in 100 trainees, and after the first year, we still only have 20 trainees. 80% of the people that we out of 100, they quit. 80 people quit within the first 3 months, and by the end of the year, we might have 0 to 20 people out of those 100. So we trying to figure out how to keep these people, and that's just truck driving, you know. So you can only imagine people trying to start a business. A lot of people just drop out and quit, you know. So just be persistent. I remember when first business I tried to start. I remember I bombed completely, you know. I gave it a good 6 months. I gave it a good 6 months, you know. I gave it a hell of a run, you know. I was doing all right, but then it just sort of, the bottom just sort of fell out from under me. But, you know, I can't say I didn't put out my best effort. But, you know, now I've come back. I'm like, okay, I know I'm more determined than ever to, you know, make this business a success. And I mean, you know, so far so good. So I just want you to be, you know, whoever listens to this podcast, you know, if you listen to it today, you listen to it tomorrow, if you listen to it, you know, 5 years from now, I know if you don't quit, you know, I mean, yeah, I know if you don't quit, then you will make it, you know. It might not be in the thing you start, but you'll definitely, if you just keep moving them feet, you'll find your groove, and then eventually it'll take off, you know. So that's it for today. One of these days we're gonna talk about passion and why that's kind of overrated. I know people talk about their passion, but if you can find something you're successful in, and you find a passion for it, not it's already your passion, but if you find a passion for it, then do that. But we'll talk about that another day. That's a whole thing I always see sometimes. It's kind of annoying to me, but anyway, that's it for today. I know these 2 segments was kind of lengthy, but hope you enjoyed them. I know we're having a good time. You know why I know? Because people are listening. You know, people are downloading, so I appreciate you. But anyway, that's it for today. It's time for dinner. My name is Tony Rizzano. This is the Affiliate Marketing Party Pod. Say that one time, huh? This is the Affiliate Party Podcast. And we will talk to you again tomorrow. And as always, everybody, peace.